The Atlantic Coast Pipeline is a proposed natural gas pipeline that is being constructed running through the states of North Carolina and Virginia. The pipeline was originally proposed in 2013 during the Obama administration. It would provide public utilities throughout the two states and ensure that businesses and houses keep their power through inclement weather. The website for the pipeline claims that the pipeline would be an energy provider, job creator, and economic game changer, while also helping the region lower emissions, improve air quality, grow local economies, and create thousands of new jobs in manufacturing and other industries. However, let's take a closer look at the economic impacts, the environmental impacts, and whether or not this project is fully considering the intersectionality or race relations at all, as the pipeline disproportionately impacts Native Americans, including the Marin, Haliwi Saponi, Coharie, and Lumbee tribes of North Carolina. The main complaint with the Atlantic Coast Pipeline is in its very close proximity to cultural areas, primarily Lumbee cemeteries and burial sites. The pipeline and its construction can cause damage to these lands, and cause less people to visit or appreciate these areas. The Lumbee Indians, whose relatives and ancestors are resting in these areas, are a group of Native Americans that live primarily in Robeson County, North Carolina. They are the largest Indian tribe in North Carolina with nearly 55,000 members. The Lumbee have prominent ties to Christianity and are one of the more spiritually active and cohesive groups in the area. However, the Lumbee have already been historically ignored by the government. They receive little in the way of government protection, specifically of the government protections offered to recognized tribes, like eminent domain, and have been subject to several laws attempting to break down their cohesiveness as a tribe. Now, the pipeline wouldn't necessarily cause such worry for these people if it didn't come with many fears of pollution, extensive tree removal, and the destruction of wildlife habitats. There are also concerns of methane leaking into the 4 major rivers and 6 public drinking source watersheds and farmlands that the pipeline will cross. This is not particularly new to this area or these people, as many hog farms have been set up in similar locations to where the proposed pipeline will go. Hog farms are somewhat less intrusive, but still largely affect air quality and lead to leakage of chemicals and sewage into drinking water, not to mention the smell. Now this begs the question, how intentional were these actions? Well, the area where the pipeline is set to run through is a thoroughly less affluent region of the state of North Carolina, with the whole area earning less than the median income for the state, existing below the national poverty line, losing jobs at a consistent year-by-year rate, having lower than average land costs, and the majority of the people not having an education above a high school diploma. These maps reveal a very clear picture of the wealth and education of the state of North Carolina. There are two pretty clear areas that are not doing well economically. The difference between these two regions is the racial makeup of these areas and the age of the people in these regions. The areas chosen to host the Atlantic Coast Pipeline are largely Native American, Black, and have the largest populations under the age of 18, while the areas not chosen have a much higher concentration of white people. The decision-making behind the choice seems evident. Now, this being said, the pipeline is estimated to bring jobs to the region, and some would argue it's the exact kind of economic stimulus package that this area needs. According to Dominion, the leading company behind the pipeline, the project will generate $377 million a year in energy cost savings, $28 million a year in the new local tax revenue, 17,240 new jobs in construction, and 2,200 new jobs in manufacturing and other industries. These numbers are definitely inflated by the company, and certain sources even report that the pipeline will cost the people of this region an additional $1.6 to $2.3 billion more than they are currently paying for natural gas. Existing pipelines, specifically in Virginia, could likely transport the same gas 3 to 8 times cheaper than the ACP proposes to do. It's also highly likely that these people are being somewhat disenfranchised, as their representatives act against their self-interests, with Duke Energy and Dominion donating upwards of $60,000 to various pro-pipeline politicians in North Carolina and Virginia. All of this being said, however, hiring for the construction has started, with entry-level jobs earning as much as $25 an hour on their first day on site. Almost all of the economic numbers are theoretical and volatile, and only time will tell whether or not this will be truly a positive economic impact on the region. Regardless, we are currently witnessing a serious aggression against the Lumbee people and their cultural sites, as well as the younger members and the black members of these communities. Politicians are taking advantage of these poor and rural people by building the Atlantic Coast Pipeline, and environmental racism remains an active problem in our society today.